A force field analysis is a strategic decision-making tool used to identify and evaluate the forces that support a proposed change, known as driving forces, and the forces that oppose the change, known as restraining forces. The analysis helps managers judge how likely a change is to succeed and allows managers to develop strategies to strengthen support or reduce resistance. A force field analysis has 4 key features. We will look at these features using a business decision to expand into a new international market. A force field analysis has a single change focus, analyzing one clearly defined proposed change, shown at the top of the diagram. A force field analysis examines 2 opposing forces, driving forces and restraining forces, allowing both sides of the decision to be considered clearly. On the left are the driving forces, which support the change, such as access to new customers and increased revenue growth. On the right are the restraining forces, which hinder the change, such as cultural differences and legal or regulatory barriers. A force field analysis involves a weighted force comparison. Each force is given a weighting, usually from 1 to 5, based on importance. For example, access to new customers and revenue growth are both rated 5, while cultural and legal barriers are rated 4. Finally, force field analysis uses score-based evaluation. Managers compare total scores of driving and restraining forces to judge feasibility. Since the driving forces total 20 and the restraining forces total 15, the expansion appears feasible, provided key risks are managed effectively. Force field analysis helps businesses assess feasibility of change by comparing weighted driving and restraining forces, while also identifying obstacles, helping to prioritize management actions and supporting clear communication with stakeholders. Let's look at the essential steps for constructing a force field analysis. Step 1. Clearly state the proposed change. Step 2. Identify the driving forces supporting the change. Step 3. Identify the restraining forces opposing the change. Step 4. Assign the weighting to each force from 1 to 5. Step 5. Calculate the total scores for driving and restraining forces. Step 6. Make an overall evaluation by comparing the totals and judging the likelihood of success. We will create a sample force field analysis for Roast and Vibe, a coffee shop located in Dublin, Ireland, which is considering installing a self-ordering kiosk. To construct a force field analysis, we start by clearly stating the proposed change and setting up the chart as shown. For a Roast and Vibe example, the proposed change is installing a self-ordering kiosk in the store. This is shown at the top of the force field analysis chart. Roast and Vibe owners Sean and Marie have identified the following forces. On the left, list the driving forces, the factors supporting the change. For Roast and Vibe, these include reducing labor costs, faster ordering, improved order accuracy, customer data collection, and upselling opportunities. On the right, list the restraining forces, which oppose the change. In this case, they include high initial cost, job security concerns, loss of personal touch, technical issues, and customer resistance. The goal is to brainstorm all key factors supporting and resisting the change. After listing the forces, each force is assigned a weighting from 1 to 5 based on how strong its impact is. Roast and Vibe owners Sean and Marie assign the weightings based on their experience with the business and the industry. For the driving forces, reducing labor costs is rated 5 due to rising wages, while the other driving forces are weighted based on their importance. For the restraining forces, high initial cost is rated 4 because of the high upfront investment, with the other restraining forces scored based on impact. The weightings are then added up. The total driving forces are 18, while the total restraining forces are 14. The final step is overall evaluation, where the totals are compared to judge if the change is likely to succeed. In this example, the driving forces total 18, which is higher than the restraining forces total of 14. This suggests that installing the self-ordering kiosk is feasible for roast and vibe. However, the analysis highlights key risk, showing that Forcefield Analysis not only assesses feasibility, but also identifies what managers must focus on to ensure success. Forcefield Analysis offers several key benefits that help businesses manage change more effectively. Objective decision-making. By comparing and ranking forces for and against proposed change, managers rely less on gut feelings and more on structured analysis. Risk assessment. Identifying restraining forces early, such as costs or resistance, allows businesses to anticipate problems before implementing change. Aids strategic planning. Weighting each force helps managers decide where to focus their efforts, either by strengthening support for the change or reducing resistance. Visual communication. The clear diagram makes complex decisions easier to explain to employees and other stakeholders, helping to build understanding and support for the change. While Forcefield Analysis is a useful tool, it also has several important limitations that businesses must consider. Subjective weighting. The scores given to each force are based on management judgment, which means personal bias or incomplete information can affect the outcome. Oversimplified analysis. Complex business situations are reduced to a list of forces, which may ignore deeper issues such as long-term impacts or interactions between factors. Static snapshot. The analysis shows conditions at one moment and does not account for how forces may change in the future. Diagnostic tool only. While the analysis helps identify what the problems and factors are, it does not offer solutions or strategies for how to address them. Managers must use tools to plan effective action. Let's quickly recap what you've learned about Forcefield Analysis. You now understand what a Forcefield Analysis is and its key features. You learn the step-by-step process for creating a Forcefield Analysis. And you reviewed the benefits and limitation of Forcefield Analysis so you can use them effectively. For IB exam-style practice on Forcefield Analysis, visit the Business Management Higher Level Question Bank on the Revision Village website.